Hello, David 4040 here with another ship's roster review, and today we're taking a look at Baze's ships. So let's go down and take a look at Baze's fleet here. First off, he's consistently in the top 200, which is pretty good. That means with a little bit of focus, you can probably easily get into the top 50. Now, taking a quick look at your current fleet, several things I noticed. First off, your Houndstooth is real weak because it's only 3 stars. Um, you generally want the Houndstooth to be at least 4 stars before using it, and in current metas, you want it to probably be even 5 or 6 stars before you start using it. It really depends on your fleet. If you really need that second tank, Houndstooth is a good option if you need that other tank as a reinforcement. But you do have the Slave One currently, which is a taunter you can call in. It's probably stronger at this point in time for a call in than your Houndstooth. So you can probably at the moment until you get the Houndstooth up a little bit more, find a stronger replacement in your reinforcements. And I'm going to hopefully be suggesting to you some excellent reinforcement opportunities. The other thing I'm noticing here is you have the TIE Silencer and TIE Advance as some starting ships here, alongside your Biggs' X-Wing, a ship that I think would actually be way better as a starter than TIE Silencer in general, because TIE Silencer is an excellent ship on offense but isn't as good defensively, would probably be the Ghost to just kind of replace the TIE Silencer there. You can use the Ghost to stealth the TIE Advanced. So let's just take a look at your ships in general and see what some improvements can be made and what my best fleet recommendation overall for you is going to be going forward. And one of the first things I always take a look at, because there's only 4 of them, it's a lot simpler, is capital ships. I know you have a really high gear Thrawn, that's excellent, and all you're missing is some all you're missing is one Zeta on him. If you want to put that Zeta on him, that'll give him some more speed, but you don't have to. It's really dependent on to what extent other people on your shard have put that Zeta on him. If other people have done it, then it's going to be more recommended. But what I more want to take a look here at are the abilities of your Chimera. And really, there is a preferred order to this. Unfortunately, the first thing you've maxed out on is actually what I would recommend be the fourth thing you max out on it. So, what should be the recommended order? Well, first off, the number one thing to do is going to be fierce loyalty. And why is that? Well, fierce loyalty essentially acts as a leadership ability in terms of ships, and it just gives some overall more damage capability to your ships. By maxing it out, you get 5% more critical damage and plus 5% tenacity for your allies, which is even larger for your Empire allies when you're using people like the TIE Advance. That's excellent. It's going to give TIE Advance so much more damage, but this also means that you want to have this maxed out. And because this is going to be the thing that your ships are activating and using the most, you're rarely going to be using these other abilities on the ships. Yes, you will use them, but the thing that overall will help your fleet the most is that leadership ability in terms of fierce loyalty. Now, the next 2 things I recommend you do in the order of your choosing, but that's Art of War and Phylon Beam. These are your utility moves with your capital ship. When you're not using Fierce Loyalty or your ultimate, you're going to be using either Art of War or Phylon Beam. Art of War provides a nice heal, while Phylon Beam provides a nice turn meter reduction and AoE. So really, based on what you find yourself using the most out of these two, is the order you should be maxing those out. And the last thing you do is the basic attack. Capital ship basic attacks since ships 2.0 are rarely used, which makes the basic attack something that you only use on rare occasion. Um, so max it out so that you have the ship maxed out, and in case you ever use it, it's there for you. But I don't suggest making it the first thing you focus on. So Chimera, based on your other capital ships, don't have Executrix or Home One up at all. You do have Endurance up a little bit. That's useful for defensive fleets, but we're not as worried about that right now because before you ever work on a defensive fleet for like territory wars or something, you want to have up a good arena fleet because those can also just provide a good territory wars fleet. So your other two options here are Executrix and Home One. For the type of fleet you're going to be using in the immediate, Executrix would probably be the better one to eventually work on. But Home One, if you eventually want a Rebels fleet, which is the current meta, is going to be good to work on there. Make sure you're working whenever you work on a capital ship. You do the same sort of order I was just describing with Chimera. You do leadership, utility moves, ultimate, and then basic attack last. Um, so do, but again, not as worried about the capital ships right now. You can develop those out as you find yourself going to use them, and they're a little bit easier to get around to. Um, so now what we're going to do is look at what fleet maybe in the immediate future you should work on. Um, So I think that Biggs is your obvious choice for your tank. The only other choice you have right now is Houndstooth, based on what you have developed out, and you really need to get that up in star count before using it at all. So I would go with Biggs as a tank, and I would go with TIE Advanced, and I personally would choose Ghost because the only other option in place of Ghost is Imperial TIE Fighter. You do not have Imperial TIE Pilot geared up. And Ghost is a better option. However, you also want to work on these characters' gear a little bit. I personally always suggest gear 11 minimum for pilots. Um, Ghost is an excellent ship, and Phoenix is needed in other parts of the game, so it shouldn't hurt too much to work on these guys. You can either way use TIE Silencer, especially on offense, um, and you can replace Ghost on defense and offense as you feel comfortable with the development of that team. Now, when it comes to reinforcements, the best reinforcement in the game, I can't reiterate this enough, the best reinforcement in the game is Phantom 2, which you barely have developed out. You have Ezra Gear 10, but you really need to get Chopper and Sabine up. Sabine needs to be 7 stars. And the reason why this ship is excellent is for two main reasons. First off, Covert Strike here is the reinforcement ability, and it will reduce the cooldown of call reinforcement on the allied capital ship by 1, which means the next turn you get to call in another reinforcement, essentially helping you swarm the battlefield. Um, it's a very scary reinforcement ability, and the more ships you have on the battlefield, the better you're able to do. But the other thing is, here's maximum impact, and maximum impact will basically come in and deal a massive amount of damage to one of the enemy ships, potentially even taking it out. Um, it it has huge damage capabilities, even beyond the estimated 48,000 here. I've heard of it doing nearly 100k before. So really work on this. The other thing I'll mention is you are using Biggs, and Sight's Lock here is an ability that, if maxed out, has a high chance of being able to inflict target lock on 2 ships. That's going to do a lot of health regeneration for your Biggs as your tank. So really work on Phantom 2 and get to the point where you feel comfortable making it your first reinforcement. For other reinforcement possibilities, if you wanted to put TIE Advance as reinforcement, you always could. But I think right now you want to kind of go for some of those plug and play reinforcements. You have Slave 1 up. Slave 1 is going to continue making a good reinforcement for you. TIE Reaper also makes a great reinforcement for you. It comes in, removes some turn meter and gives some turn meter, and it can dispel. Another decent one I find is First Order TIE Fighter. It can give some regeneration. Um, those are just some general good reinforcements you can do. Wedge's X-Wing is a good reinforcement as a counter if you're finding yourself up against Houndstooth a lot. It can deal some buff immunity that helps people fight Houndstooth. Just for some another general fleet you can go for in the future. If you want to develop out your executrix, you can go for a starting team of Houndstooth, Xanadu Blood, and Ghost, with reinforcements of your choice, like Phantom 2. That really does also make for a great fleet, and you have Cad Bane up, so I don't getting up Xanadu Blood is excellent. But there's another reason we want to talk about bounty hunter ships and why you need to develop out these three guys right here: Houndstooth, Xanadu Blood, and IG 2000. It's because you do eventually want to get a 7-star Millennium Falcon if you really want to do good on the top end of ships. So, uh, when you find you have the chance, work on these guys. Both Houndstooth and Xanadu Blood are excellent ships, so there's no reason those guys shouldn't be developed if you're going for being great in ships. But IG 2000 works good on a bounty hunter fleet in areas like territory battles and wars. Getting up to 7-star would not hurt for that reason as well. Um, So I hope that helps. If you want to use the Emperor's shuttle, I guess you could, but I would suggest getting up Royal Guard more before using this ship. Um, and hopefully it'll come back around in Galactic Chase soon, so you can get it up to 5-star. Um, but I don't suggest it. I also don't know the Emperor's shuttle well enough to give any advice surrounding that. But I hope what I've said so far has helped. I mean, there's other stuff you can go for. You can go for the GOs, but really what we want to do is concentrate you on getting those goals. And GOs, even though they're an excellent fleet, kind of takes you away from those long-term goals. And I think getting up the bounty hunter fleet will give you some better options in the median while you're waiting on developing out that while you're trying to develop out a Millennium Falcon Rebels team. If you have any questions for me, Baze, reach back out on Discord. I'll try my best to always answer and get back to you. As you know, I am the ships guy in our alliance. But I hope that helped. This is David4040 signing out.